You're watching EVH Gear TV, brought to you by Mike's Music. Visit Mike's Music online for all your EVH and other gear needs. Microphones for EVH Gear TV are provided by Rode Microphones, and official Van Halen merchandise is provided by VanHalenStore.com. Now, here's your host from Ontario, Canada, EVH Gear artist Eric Broadbent.
Hey everyone, it's a weekend. Happy Friday to you all, EVH Gear TV. We are live. Just wanted to do a quick shout out to show sponsors, mikesmusiconline.com, Rode Microphones, and VanHalenStore.com. Very happy to have my return guest on the show from Daddario, Rob Cunningham. Rob, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Very, very good. A little warm. We're just kind of across, parallels a little bit across Lake Erie there and whatnot, but how's the temperature your way right now?
It's brutal down here. When I left work, it was like 97, or according to my car, it was 97, and the humidity is just like disgusting.
Yeah, I'm getting it here as well too. It's kind of unseasonably hot right now. I mean, I know July is the time we're expecting it, but it's a little hotter than normal. I had some grass to cut here today, and it's been put off actually for a couple of days. It's just too hot to kill yourself.
No, and but I'll take it.
Yeah,
it's better than snow. So
I agree.
It's all good.
I had the conversation with Junior here when he was in my office earlier this evening, and I said to him, I said that exact same thing. I would much rather have this than the snow. And I know people argue, even my own Poison Ivy here, she'll say, oh, but you can warm up, you can put on some sweaters. I'd rather just get down to boxers or whatever you need to
do. Whatever you got to do, exactly.
Yeah. So I'm really glad to have you back. It's been a while, and like, as you and I were talking in email, it crept up pretty darn fast, didn't it?
It did. In fact, I forgot when you texted me this week. I was like, "Oh, wow, that went fast."
I know it's that's a good thing though, because it means you're busy, we're busy, life is busy. That's good. I mean, if it's sitting there at a snail's pace, we're bored, we're idle, that kind of thing. So that's a good thing, I think, overall.
I know. I think it's just something like when you get older. I remember like when you were a kid, like summer seemed to last like 5 years.
Yep.
And now it's like.
It's gone.
It's gone in 2 seconds.
I know. It's like a little mini series of TV.
Yeah.
And it's gone. I'll take a quick second. I'll jump over the chat because we've got a bunch of people jumping in over there. We'll say hi to those guys first, and then we'll jump right into some questions.
All right.
And we're going to do some crazy surprise giveaway later on tonight, too. I won't say what it is yet, and we're going to try to come up with a trivia question later on. Rob's got something cool he'll tell us about later. So over in the chat, we have Lyle Ketchum saying first. He gets a prize for first person here. Riley's favorite's Cunningham. There you go. I think I know that name.
I think I know who that is.
That's right. And speaking of family, I've got my better half Poison Ivy. Grows here joining, says, good evening, folks. Tactical 6-string. J Ride, I can't pronounce it's a bunch of numbers at the end, so we'll just say J Ride, says hello. Lyle Ketchum, Tactical 6-string, hoping Poison Ivy as well. She's been recuperating. Let me see here. Tactical 6-string, look at that little strat. Joseph Burt's joining. Quentin James and Zachary Suter, one of our younger fans. So that is a good start of the evening. So I want to talk about, last time you were here, you were talking about your band, and you're quite busy. We're talking about being busy. You had told me you do somewhere around 80 shows a year with the band. Do you have any things coming up over the summer? Like festivals can be a lot of fun, summer festivals and things like that. Anything of that nature?
Yeah, we do. Of course, we're on Long Island, right? So, it's all about the beach during the summer. So there's a bunch of beach clubs that we play at. There's a whole ton of street fairs that we do. And, we're doing covers. So every gig's different. Like sometimes you show up and it's a rock crowd. And so we end up doing rock all night. And sometimes you show up and the people aren't reacting to the rock music. And then, we'll go more towards a dance or a funk thing, and then people react to that, and we kind of just stick there for the night, you know? So you kind of don't know what's going to happen each night, Sometimes, now that we play a bunch of places over and over again, you kind of know that this is a rock place, this is a dance place, this is, But, it's a ton of outdoor gigs, and in fact, they're playing right now, actually. They have a sub for me tonight, so they're doing a street fair right now, so...
did they do that because of the show? I could have moved the show for you for sure.
No, it's all good. Actually, honestly, the band plays more than I can.
Okay.
We're booked a ton, so I do have a sub. So anytime I can't make a gig, they got someone to rely on, and then he jumps in.
Oh, that works good then.
Yeah.
Good.
Because I mean, it's just crazy sometimes, working all, and then I got my daughter Riley. She's young, so I can't be playing every single Friday and Saturday night during the summer, and so it's good. It's great to have a sub. It works out perfectly. It's beautiful.
That's nice. Good to have some daughter time and hanging out at home.
Yep.
Yeah, same here too. When the summer vacation is here, it's good to spend as much time as you can with the kids. So.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. And obviously the summer gigs, that is fun. I mean, there's nothing, no two doubts about that. Playing the festivals, street gigs, the Canada Days or, Independence Days over your way, things like that. Always great celebrations.
And they're fun. But, I don't know if you notice this when you play, but, it's definitely a different thing going from playing indoors all winter and then going to outdoors. The sound changes. Your guitar's a little drier, and it doesn't sing as much because you're not in like an enclosed environment.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to get used to the differences.
Yeah, and the thing is, a good crowd inside a venue is awesome. You're going to feed off that. You're going to have fun. A good crowd outside can be even more fun. But then, like you say, too, you're adjusting for temperature, humidity. Sometimes you're swallowing bugs. You're out getting mosquitoes or whatever. But there's so many things you have to account for. Your favorite settings you had on your gear now sounds like, okay, why does it sound so gone, lost? You could have tons of reverb and you still don't even hear it. Lots of delay. But
it just changes. It's kind of strange. And I'm not one of the guys, like, I don't know about you, but I can't play a gig in shorts. I can't do it. Like I have to wear jeans.
Yeah.
So even if it's like 90 degrees out, I got, jeans on, and sometimes you're just like roasting, but
it's worth it. It's worth it in the end.
I can't do the short thing.
Would you, I'm assuming like most guitar players, would you prefer to be extremely hot, like not like to, for your appearance to the women, not ooh, he's hot, you know what I mean? But like literally dying on stage, temperature wise, as opposed to being somewhat cool?
Yeah, definitely. I'd much rather be sweating my,
Yep.
Yeah, than be frozen. And especially when you're cold, like, sometimes the fingers don't work as well. And it's actually a running joke with my band because they're Diane that books our band. She's a little crazy, but she likes. I tell that to her face, so it's good.
That's all good.
But she books a lot of gigs. So they book one that's actually a Christmas tree lighting.
Oh no!
And it's outdoors in December. And I always tell her, like, just get the sub to do it.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it because I'm gonna freeze.
Yeah.
And like I just hate my like the thought of my guitar being out,
sub-zero temperature.
At sub-zero temperatures out in the middle of December. I just can't do it.
I know.
But they do it every single year. They play outdoors during this Christmas lighting, and it's nuts.
You see these people do these the New Year's specials, especially like in our area because we're dead zero in the exact same temperature zone here. And you see like New York City, you've seen like the bringing in the New Year, all these other things, and you got to say, oh my God, you guys are. I mean, more power to you. You must have some heaters off side of the stage, blowing heat as much as possible. But I couldn't do it. There's no way I could do it.
Nah, they're still freezing.
I know. Yeah, and your fingers feel like logs. The simplest little 3-chord pattern will be a major chore.
I can't play when my fingers are cold. Like I
can't either.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah.
At all. And I hate that because then like you're trying to do something that you usually could do like kind of easily, and then you can't. And
yeah. There'll be times where I'll just put my hands around a hot cup of coffee. Like if it's moments before playing, I'll just hold a cup of coffee and take a couple sips and just use that to warm up. And even that's not enough. I'll go to the washroom and hot water in my hands, things like that, just to get them, up to room temperature a little bit. But yeah, once they're cold, you're not in the zone anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
That's right.
And it's got to be easy.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Who wants to work at guitar?
Nobody wants to work at it.
That's right. That's right. A bunch of the people jumping in the chat. We'll jump over there and grab some more questions as well too. And not that we're going to take a negative side note here, but it would be nice just to recognize this. We got some bad news through the internet yesterday about another rock icon that we lost, Chester Bennington. Where were you when you heard that? Were you working and heard it, or? It's
funny. I was in the middle of a meeting at work, and I have like a little thing on my watch. Like it's the little news feeds pop up, the CNN thing. And it popped up, and I was in the middle of the meeting, and I actually was like, Chester died. And like everyone in the meeting's like, what?
Yeah.
And, who would have thought that? Like I didn't see that coming. But, apparently he had some issues and, some depression and alcohol and drugs issues. it's just sad to hear that. It's unbelievable. All these guys, and another great singer. The guy's amazing. Was amazing, and Chris Cornell. I mean,
yeah.
God, that's just a God-given voice. I mean, how many people can sing like that?
I know.
And not to hear that again is unbelievable.
I'm not sure who. I don't want to give credit to where this came from because I'm not sure who it was, but I think it might have been Nikki Sixx. Someone had just interviewed him recently, and he was saying Chester was saying to that person, I want to say it's Nikki Sixx, but maybe it was like the Sixth Sense thing, his show, whatever he does. But he was saying that how Chester was saying how happy he was. But I think sometimes, one way to cover up, a mental illness like that is to say that I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life. To hide that so people aren't worrying, or you're kind of kidding yourself, maybe, possibly.
Yeah. And he had a lot of kids too. I mean, geez.
6. Yeah. It's sad. It's sad for sure. And I mean, now the mom, having to handle, and you and I were talking about this off the air, 6 kids of all different ages, like from little ones to, adults.
But, it's got to be something bad that you're going through. I mean, because, of course you have a kid. I have my kids. And like, I could not picture doing anything like that just because of her. Like,
I know.
I would never want to miss that, So you figure, like, for someone to do that, he's going through something or something's going on.
Yeah, I mean,
it's terrible.
You think of temporary solutions to long-term problems. That's a permanent solution to a temporary situation. You can always get help, and that can be fixed. So that permanent situation is not necessarily a thing. You don't have to make a turn like that. So it's sad, and really, I mean, I think more rock stars need to come out of the woodwork, and hopefully they will. Because let's face it, the rock world, all of us have issues of some sort. That's why we do what we do. We're into music and we do art, right? We all have our little issues. We're not exactly the straight and narrow people. Some people, who's straight and narrow anyways, really, in the grand scheme of things. But the artistic people have some issues. And I think we need more people to come out and just kind of say, it's okay to, don't be embarrassed, and talk to some people, whether it's a friend or, a professional or, anyone of that nature.
Yeah. I mean, and I read, I didn't read the whole thing, but I read part of what Matt Sorum wrote for Chester.
Yeah.
It was actually really nice what he wrote. And, and he was kind of saying the same thing. I mean, he was an addict too. And he goes, after addiction, a lot of times you do fight depression and anxiety and everything else. And, I guess everyone's picture of a rock star's life, they just imagine it to be amazing. It's awesome. And like Matt says, like when you're on stage and you're in front of a crowd, it's one thing. But then when you go home and you're by yourself, it's a different ball game, so.
That's right, totally. Like look at some of these heroes that we've had growing up, like comedians like the Robin Williams and John Belushis, and I'm not saying that they're heroes of everyone's, but people that we grew up watching and admiring.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Like they're go, and then when it comes to the home life, they slow it right down to almost a snail's pace, and you turn that off. It's very, very hard to turn that off and just be dad or husband or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't separate yourself from that stage persona, or else life can also be boring. You need that rush that you had there, and then and in some of those guys, we've all read the books, and we won't say any names, but they'll take something to get them up to so they're up and they're high, and they're ready to do their thing, and then they're too high, they got to come back down, and then it's just a circle of abuse, right?
Yeah, and you get pumped up doing that. I know I'm not playing anywhere near on the scale that these guys are doing, but even when I play a gig, I get home at 1 a.m, 2 a.m. I can't just get into bed and go to sleep. Like it's I gotta hang out for like an hour or so and kind of wind down.
I agree. Even as something as simple as this little talk show, when the show's done, I hang out with Junior, like he'll be waiting. He's up playing video games with his friends and stuff like that. When it's done, then we just hang out. I definitely can't just say, I'm ready for bed. Well, we'll hang out and just I need to decompress a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and with a rock star, imagine that's like, you're scaling it up 100. Exactly. So it's got to be pretty crazy.
I know. But you know what? Let's hope some more people come out, and I can see that happening. I mean, if enough of these people are passing away like this, it's sad enough that we lose them with medical conditions and things like that. But when we lose some of our heroes, as a choice of their own, hopefully there'll be some people that will speak out and at least give us some of these youth some hope. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I only saw him this winter at with the was it Kings of Chaos?
Yeah. No, Steve Stevens was part of that, right?
Steve Stevens was playing, and
Yes.
I mean that was a great night. I mean that was an amazing show.
Yeah, I saw a post from Steve Stevens, and I mean I love Steve Stevens, and he was pretty shook up because both of him and his wife were like, they were like, he was almost like a brother to them, you know what I mean, or a relative.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were pretty shook up. I never did see Linkin Park live ever, and just like when we lost Chris Cornell, like I was as much of a fan of Soundgarden as the next guy. I liked their music. If I heard it on the radio, I'd listen to it and yay, fist bump, whatever. But I wasn't diehard, didn't know all the music. But it was a shock to me. Same thing with Linkin Park. I knew their tunes, I knew the hits. I didn't know the deep cuts and things like that. But you feel it for sure. It's definitely a deep disturbance in the musical force. You feel it for sure.
Yeah, and he had one of those voices. Like I'm not a monstrous Linkin Park fan, but of course I know their songs. But I mean, in their song structure, they have like kind of like almost like the rap kind of parts going on. And then when he just comes out with that voice and belts, it's like it's like a dramatic change in the song that just like kind of grabs you, And he had that voice that just kind of soared above the band, which it was an amazing voice that he had.
It was nice. And someone that's that I felt really bad for too, as someone that was kind of hit deeply by this, was Pete Thorne. He's been on the show a couple different times, and he was very, very, very close to Chris Cornell.
Yeah,
obviously he played with them, and I guess they were like blood brothers for life. And because of touring with Chris Cornell, and then Linkin Park I'm not sure if it was Linkin Park, but at least Chester was on that tour. I'm not sure, I could be wrong, but I know Chester was involved in that tour as well too. So he got to know Chester. And I mean, Chris Cornell's death really, really hit Pete. And I watched his video he did on that. It was very emotional. And then all of a sudden, boom, here comes this. And I mean, it's only been what, a couple months? How long has it been since?
I know. That's the crazy thing. Yeah, it's only been a couple months.
Yeah, yeah. So it's sad. But you know what? We'll just leave it there, and we'll say, people, if you have any doubts, whatever, call a friend, call professional help. There's all kinds of resources out there for sure. But let's move on to something a little bit more positive.
Yes.
The last time that you were here, we're talking about, obviously, a lot of things we talk about on the show is EVH gear. And we briefly touched base on your modded 5150. Now, you've got the 50 watt, correct?
I have the 100 watt and I have the 50 watt.
Okay.
The 100 watt is honestly like just too much of a beast.
Yeah.
It's so loud, and which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But and it's a big amp to lug around. So then I have the 50 watt. That's what I gig with the most. And then I sent it up to Voodoo Amplification, Trace up there.
Mm-hmm.
And then so he did a couple mods. He did the main thing I wanted was just to separate the channels for the clean and the rhythm channel.
Gotcha.
What's that, green and blue, I guess,
Yes,
right? Yeah,
right.
green and blue. So I just wanted to get that separated. So he separated them with concentric pots on the volume and the gain. And then he did revoice the blue and the red channel a little bit.
Okay.
And then I got it back, and the thing's a beast. And one thing I know, like when you talk about EVH gear, people take it pretty personally. And I really didn't mod the amp because I thought it didn't sound good. Really, I just wanted to just get those two channels separated, because I thought the amp sounded fantastic, straight out of the box.
Mm-hmm.
But then he was like, well, I got it open.
I can do this, yeah.
It's like, all right, go for it, like do what you do, so but I got it back, and it's definitely it's not a night and day difference, but it's definitely like you could tell there's a little bit of something going on there.
So the way you mentioned it, have you seen the new lunchbox? I have it. You can see it back there. The one.
Yep.
Yeah. So is it similar to that, where the knobs are both there, so you can control the clean, you can control the dirty. There's just kind of one behind you. Is that what you mean? Yeah,
because with the other one, like if you wanted clean, you had to have the gain all the way down. Then you didn't have the gain. Then you didn't have the gain for the blue channel.
Right.
And then if you had the blue channel gain all the way up where it sounds ripping,
yep.
Then if you need a clean sound, you didn't have the clean sound.
Gotcha.
So and usually like if I was playing like kind of my own stuff, I really only need the rhythm and the solo channels.
Mm-hmm.
But then doing the cover gig, you definitely need the clean channel as well. So it was like I have the perfect amp as far as like the size and the weight to carry to a gig and everything. And that was like really the only thing about the amp that I wish it had the 3 channels like the 100 watt head.
Yeah.
So it was great they did the concentric pot, so that was awesome.
And it's worked out good for you ever since. And that's Voodoo Amps. Where can people find those guys?
I think if you just search Voodoo Amplification,
Okay.
You'll find it. The guy's the owner of the company is Trace.
Okay.
Amazing guy, and and I think turnaround time wasn't even that long. I think it was like 3 weeks.
Okay.
Maybe 4 weeks. It wasn't bad at all, and got it back, perfect condition. I had it retubed and biased and everything while he had it. And I got it back, and it's just a beast. In fact, we can play it.
Let's do it. I know you're plugged into something. You're plugged into that one right now?
I am plugged into that.
All right.
I mic'd it up before we did this.
All right, let's give it. I'm going to put the camera over on your screen here. Let's have a look.
So now, like, normally when the gain was cranked, right, for the blue channel, it sound good. When you went to the clean channel, it would sound, it was broken up. So here we could get a totally clean. Then step on the blue channel. And then the third channel.
Amazing.
Yeah, so it's great, and that was a clean channel on the rhythm pickup. If I can go to the middle pickup, and then usually I do like a little chorus and compression. It's a really nice clean sound.
Are you using any compressor on there?
I do have a compressor on there. Without the compressor, I have the exotic.
Okay, nice.
It's a great clean sound.
I love that.
And then and it's great that you can just go from that and pressing on a button. I shut off the chorus so I sound like Zach Wild. And with this channel, after he revoiced it, I just find it's like a hair tighter, and it's just a little like throatier. And but it's really similar to the way it comes stock. I mean, I think it's just a little bit tighter and throatier. Is how I would kind of describe it.
Well, that's nice. Now you've got a smaller box to carry around, and you've got everything that you need.
I know it actually works out great, and I mean it's more than loud enough. I mean 50 watts is like yeah. No, and then I got the of course I have to have the EVH phaser on there.
I love it.
It's a great sound.
Carry on with a few more of your pedals. I know some of the pedals that you have because you've told me before, and you've done. And we'll talk about this in a minute too. We'll talk about some of the phaser shootout videos that you did. You did some on the old script and the reissue, and then
that's right, yeah.
The EVH. That was a good video. But give us kind of a pedal board rundown what you're using right now. You told us a couple.
All right. So you can't really see what I'm doing, but
yep,
so I got the phaser. Next to that, I got the MXR WAP, but it's the mini one, the little guy.
Nice.
It actually sounds. And it doesn't take up a ton of room on the pedal board, which I like.
I like that.
So I got that. The delay is a Strymon timeline.
Oh, very nice.
Which is that's like my rhythm delay, just like kind of shortened in the background. And then for solos, it's just a little more present and.
I like that delay. That's beautiful.
It's a great delay, and I mean, I almost feel bad because it's such an amazing pedal, and I really only use like 3 sounds on it.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's all you need. Yeah.
But it's capable of like so much more, you know.
Yeah.
But I have like a couple. That's really about it. And then let me go back here. I just have like a rhythm delay, and then a lead delay, and then I have a the edge with the dotted was it dotted eighth notes?
I think so. Yeah.
To do the edge thing.
Nice.
And then I have a couple that just make crazy sounds. And then what else? I got a talk box, which would be hard to do right now.
Yeah, that's okay.
I have a diamond tremolo.
Okay.
But I don't really use it for tremolo. I kind of use it for like a stutter effect.
Oh, nice.
So the way I have it set up. If you hold the button down, it doubles the speed. And that's just for doing, like I have like one original that like had that stutter thing in the beginning, so I use it for that.
I like that.
And then I have an old CE1 chorus. I guess it's the first generation Japanese model, right? For all the people that obsess over those. Yeah. It's got to be the first generation Japanese model, right?
Yeah.
Which is a really great sounding chorus.
That's a beautiful chorus.
And then next to that, I have the MXR reverb pedal. But if I shut off the delay, I mean, the reverb that I use is really slight.
Oh, very. Yeah, very.
I'm not like crazy about reverb. In fact, I usually like don't like reverb. But so I just have a little bit to give it, like, especially like doing the outdoor gigs when there's no ambience, that the guitar just kind of goes out and disappears.
Just wants something.
So I'll do that just to give me a little bit of assimilation. And then, of course, we have to have the EVH flanger. And that's pretty much it. Then I have the talk box and then a tuner.
Perfect. And we're going to talk some tuners in a little bit tonight, too.
Yes, we are.
So I'm curious. I'm curious of something I want to assume, but I never want to assume that I'm going to be correct on this. So your phase, flange, chorus, you're running, and probably that tremolo, you're probably running to the front input. The rest you're running through the loop, the wah to the front. Oh, tell me your order.
I have the everything's in front of the amp except for the timeline.
Okay.
The flanger. And the reverb.
So you're running the flanger through the loop too.
I do. I don't know why. For me, it just sounds more pronounced, and like the phaser, I like to be subtle. So I like it in front of the amp. When you put the phaser in the loop, it's like too
it's insane
and too much. Right? It's too much.
Yeah.
And of course, we're all chasing the old early Van Halen album phaser tone. I mean, when you hear a phaser, that's like what you strive for, right?
That's right.
So in front of the amp, you get that sound. But with the phaser, the flanger, to me, it's just like I actually want that one to be dramatic.
Okay.
So by putting that one in the loop, you kind of get the full effect of it being there.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice pedal to pop on for an effect. Even just holding the power chord is nice when you step it, especially if you've got the EVH preset in. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, just to like put it on for what he does. You put on for like 2 seconds and do a couple chunks and then and then move on. It just breaks up a riff and throws a little ear candy in there.
That's right. And you and I were talking quite a bit about the EP booster. That's a nice pedal in that rig, isn't it? It
is, but you know what? I don't have that on the board. And I remember you told me you run yours in the loop, right?
That's correct.
I want to try that. I haven't tried that yet.
Really, really nice. Just talking with a buddy of mine the other day through email. He runs a channel called Home Recording Made Easy, and he said he bought the pedal on my recommendation, but what he did is he opened up and he changed the dip switches in the back. There's a dip switch. There's several of them. I didn't monkey with mine at all, but the one of them is to bring the 3 dB boost down, and I might do that. Like mine is always on. However, if you go to turn it off and you don't play it for a few minutes and you step on the pedal, even though the gain is at 0, there is a big jump. So I may bring that 3 dB boost down and keep it on, but I just keep it on as an always-on pedal, and it just fattens up the sound. So it actually
just to make it bigger.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where when I did the video on it, it's one of those secret sauce kind of things. You don't know if it's there or it's not, but if you turn it off, all of a sudden, what's missing, right?
Right.
Yeah. So I like that.
All right, so before my gig tomorrow, I'm gonna have to figure out how to put that on my squeeze that onto my board now.
I don't know if I'd want to do it before your gig. You might jinx yourself.
You inspired me.
There you go. I have it mine second last, just before the delay pedal, and it's funny too. We talk about the delays. I'm using the Boss DD500, and that same idea. You can do so many things with that thing, but I use it for 2 sounds, two different patches. I
got one for my rhythm, one for my leads, and that's essentially it. Every once in a blue moon, I go to that dotted eighth note. But I mean, if you go through the presets on that thing, it's like it's got some amazing, all the shimmering echoes and all that stuff. And like, it's awesome, But just live what I'm playing now, there's no application for it, But it's fun, like late at night, just to sit there and play with all those crazy
exactly.
sounds.
Just go through the banks, so you hit it and go up bank and try 1, 2, 3 effects, whatever, and try next one. Every once in a while, you maybe take a little pencil note. Hey, 96 sounds really cool. Let's save that.
Exactly.
But you remember back in the day when, I know this is off topic, but we had all the Digitech processors and all these floor processors. Digitech was big back in the day because they made a bunch of cool stuff, and Boss was cool. But they would give you like 1,000 effects, and you're like, oh, well, if we only had 2,000. And then they give you 2,000. Oh, if we only had 4,000, you always want more, right?
My first one was I think I had the Alesis Quadraverb.
Okay, yeah.
I think that was like my first one. Then I went to like
a lot of guys were in the rig.
And the chorus on that was like outstanding. I mean, but that was the heyday of chorus,
It was, yep.
And that had a really good one. Now you put on chorus and it's like,
I know.
But and then I went to the IntelliFX.
Rocktron IntelliFX. I'm glad you said that.
Right?
Love that.
That was a great piece.
Yep. I
ran and then from there,
the PT
that was a great one. Oh, that's a great one.
Yep.
And then from there, I went to, which is I think it was a sleeper, was the Rocktron Replifex.
Yes, I knew people. I did not have that one, and Gary Hoey, a big endorsee of that stuff. So
yeah. That was like a sleeper. That was like a really good rack effect piece.
What else in Rocktron? Was there anything else that you used?
I think that was it. I had the that was it. Just the IntelliFX, and then I had the Replifex.
But in any of their rack units, that Hush unit that they have was phenomenal.
Oh, that's right. I had one, the Hush 2C, right? Everybody had one of those. And then I had you want to hear a crazy story? Yeah. I had inside the rack, and I never used it. I think I got it at Sam Ash. It was like $50, and it was a Rocktron MIDI programmable EQ.
Oh, nice.
So I got it. I was like, oh, it's cool. And it was in like a blowout rack or something like that. So I bought it. But I never really used it. It was in my rack just because like it had a whole bunch of lights on it and it looked kind of cool. but it was never actually like in my chain. Mm-hmm. And then I happened to be reading the paper one day, and there was an ad for a guy that said looking for Rocktron MIDI EQ, right? So I was like, okay, I read it. And then I read on the bottom, he's like willing to pay $1,000.
Oh my God.
And I was like, I gotta call this. So I called the guy up. I told him what I have. He's like, yeah. He goes, I want it. So he had someone that lived on Long Island, and I drive there, and it was like a body shop. And I was like, this is getting bizarre. First that a guy wants to pay that much for this piece, and now I'm going to a body shop. And I show up, and the guy's there. I'm like, yeah, I have this. He goes, all right, hold on. He makes a phone call, and he's like looking at the piece and describing it to some guy on the phone. Mm-hmm. And then he hangs up. He's like, okay. And he like snapped out 10 $100 bills. And he's like, here you go. And I walked away. And I was like, I don't know what this was about, but okay. Like,
what a great transaction.
I just made $1,000 on something that I paid $50 for.
I love that. I'm willing to pay $1,000. I'm willing to sell it to you for $1,000.
Exactly. I mean, maybe that thing's rare. I have no idea why the guy wanted to pay that much, or even who. I don't even know who the guy is that bought it.
Maybe he's buying it for an artist or something. You know, these guys, they have to have it, and they know some people that know people. Call get me this thing, no matter what the cost is. Yeah.
So that was probably my best sale that I've ever done. That was great. $50 to $1,000.
That is very nice. That doesn't happen too much. Usually we're trading in stuff and selling stuff for a fraction of what we paid for it, because
exactly
we've lost, all of us have lost so much, dumb moves.
Dude, I lost a ton of money on half the gear here.
Have you?
I have this right next to you can't see in the studio, but right next to me I have like this monstrous mixing board.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time it was like, you know, a couple grand, and like I doubt I could probably even sell this thing for like $400 now. You know.
I know. It's worth it.
Nobody wants a big mixing board anymore. You know.
No. Is it digital? Can you automate the faders? No. Sorry. Next. You know.
No. Yeah. You can't. No. It doesn't do it. But you know, that's the way it is, right?
It is. And now everything is becoming, you know, everything's USB and FireWire and all this other kind of stuff and Bluetooth, you know, so it's putting other stuff. The cool thing about it, though, it's going to come back around. There's going to come a day where, and it's going to be one of those days where you're going to sell this board probably, and then all of a sudden it's going to become a hot commodity again, and someone's going to say, Rob, do you know anybody that's got one of those boards? You're going to say, you know what? I just got rid of one. And you could have tripled your investment probably.
Yeah, exactly. That's usually the way. That's my luck too. So.
I know. It never fails. But you know what? Just be happy with what you got. You don't always think better. You know, there's gonna be other cool guitars and other cool mixers and all that kind of stuff, amplifiers and all digital modeling and all this other kind of stuff. But you know, if you're always chasing it, which is a good thing. I mean, Eddie Van Halen's a tone chaser. But I mean, if you're always chasing it, you're never gonna get a chance to live in the moment and play and kind of hone your skills.
Yeah. No, I mean, honestly, this is like the most stable my rig has been in a long time.
That's good.
I mean, this pedal board and the 50-watt head, I mean, I've been playing this now for 3 years, I guess now, with like really minimal changes. So it's actually been great, you know.
Yeah, me too. I'm at the point where the only thing I was going to change was reverb. A lot of good mentors in my life, you know, friends, just saying, you know, try to play without some reverb. You're gonna really appreciate it. And I'm a reverb guy. A Boss RV5 is my particular flavor, and so yeah, I'm ready to give up reverb and I'm ready to get into it, and I'm playing a little bit without reverbs and I'm enjoying it, feeling good, just with delay. And then Strymon sending me a Big Sky, so I'm not exactly the right time to quit reverb, so I gotta wait a little bit longer. We'll see. But
right, just when you're going into reverb rehab.
Yep, they send me with like all the best. Yeah, so you know, we'll have to wait a little bit longer to see where the verdict is on that one. But it's fun. But I do agree, if you can get away from the reverb, some of these things I use as a crutch. We all use as a crutch. We use a whammy bar as a crutch. We use reverb as a crutch. You know, whatever it may be. A gain. You know, sometimes in some of these modeling amplifiers, we'll use excessive gain because it's there. Why not use it? But then you just have to, at the end of the day, you have to discipline yourself a little bit and get back to, okay, less simpler, less is more, and it'll start coming through the mix a lot better.
That's where I like really started finding out all this stuff. Is like when I really started playing out all the time. Like at home, it sounds great to have tons of gain and your amp drenched in reverb, and it's really fun. It makes it playing a blast, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. But then when you're playing with a band, you know, all that gain and all that reverb just kind of doesn't make your guitar push through the band, you know.
That's right.
And that's really when I stopped using. I didn't have any reverb at all on my board or in my amp for years. I just did delays, and I was fine with that. But it makes your guitar really front and center, you know. And then same thing with the gain. Like sometimes I have this awesome guitar sound, and I'm like, but like live, it's not cutting through. I'm turning the volume up, but I'm not getting any louder. Like it's just not pushing, you know. And then I kind of forced myself to start lowering the gain. Then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, there it is.
What's good about that too is you hear some board mixes, or if you have, you know, maybe the band records on video or a fan records on video, or you get a board mix plus video mix, and you're watching that, you're like, oh my god, that was actually really good.
Yeah. So so now, I mean, like the way I just played, that's the gain. I think it's dimed.
Is it?
But I think it is. And then but I only, when live, I have the gain about 9 o'clock, or no, not 9 o'clock. I can't tell time anymore. I have it about 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, somewhere around there.
Okay. On the rhythm channel and the lead channel?
On the rhythm channel, yes. And then, yeah, pretty much on both.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 2
But
o'clock.
I mean, the red channel on the 50 watt is insane. I mean, there's tons of gain on that. I mean, I could probably go to 12 o'clock and be fine.
I know. That red channel's
got so much gain.
The red channel's like a normal Marshall, actually a good recent Marshall, with a tube screamer in front of it. Yeah. It's just insane.
Exactly. I mean, it's fun to play on. But I only go to that channel for solos, so I don't play rhythm really on that. All my rhythm is done on the blue channel.
Yeah, it's too much. And the thing is, like, the reason why I think you said we play with the gain, the insane gain at home, we want the same feel that we're playing in front of 500 or 5,000 or 50,000 people on the stage. And if we had that same tone that we have live, you're not gonna feel it. So you have to compensate for it, and then you just have to know how to turn that off. There's home mode, and then there's road mode. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. Because hopefully, well, maybe you are playing as loud as you do in a club at home, but most people can't do that.
No.
So that's when the extra gain. Yeah, that's when the extra gain really helps out. And even now, hopefully the guitar sounded pretty big through.
It did. It did.
My amp's really not that loud, so that's another great thing about these amps. I mean, they really can sound monstrous at pretty low volume.
I agree with that 100%. I tell people all the time, like, you can't do that with a lot of amplifiers, but you can technically. You could have one of these 100-watt heads, 50-watt heads as well, like you have, and you have the 100-watt. You could be in an apartment, and you could be playing on about 1, and you could be playing at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and you shouldn't really be getting any noise complaints.
Yeah. The 100-watt, I love the sound of that, but it's just, that thing is a beast.
It is.
That's that's a loud 100-watt amp. That has to be pushing more than that, I would think. I mean, that's a super loud amp.
It's crazy. I just went back to it. I physically hooked mine back up, and it was thanks to a really good friend that talked me, because what I've been doing for the longest time, once I came back from NAMM and I got the new Lunchbox, which has a clean channel, which I love to death, I was running an overdrive pedal into it. I was running the 5150 overdrive into that, and that was my tone. It was a clean channel with the overdrive, and loved it to death. And we were having this discussion one night, and he's saying, "Well, I don't really like running an overdrive into my 5150s. He's got a lot of EVH stuff too." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but I kind of like it." And I kind of saw where he was going with it, and I said, "Well, you know what I'm going to do just for you today, this weekend? I'm going to fire up the 100-watt, and I'm going to go strictly natural distortion again." And I'm glad I did, and I'm really thankful to him, because his name's Darren. He says, you're going to like it. And I went back to it, and I haven't gone back since. I'm enjoying the nice, brutal, clean tone, the dirty tone, and the insane lead. So I'm going to have to go back again and go back to Lunchbox just to throw it some love once in a while. But
yeah,
they're good for sure.
I'm definitely about an amps overdrive. I'd rather use the amps, distortion than a pedal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes you don't have a choice. You only have like an amp that's clean, and then you need the pedal.
Yeah.
But I much rather use just an amp's natural distortion myself.
I agree.
It's just something about it that just sounds bigger.
It will always cut through better. It will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good, like you say, to have the pedal. I mean, I have it on my board now too, and a lot of the Van Halen guys, we all want to have everything that Eddie brings out. So if you have the pedal on your board, you're maybe opening up for your friend's band or a bigger band or something like that. You have to use their rig. You don't know what you're going to have. At least you've got your 5150 or whatever it is, your Wampler pedals, your Pinnacles, or things like that. They're going to give you the brown sound. At least you can still get your tone on someone else's rig, and then save it for a rainy day again and the next time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so many good overdrives now. It's amazing.
That's right. I just had the one beside me. I'll show you this one here too. I know you've probably played it. This one here, I'm giving this one away right away. This thing, I'm telling you, I actually like it better than the 5150 overdrive, the Pinnacle Deluxe. I told the guys at Wampler when they sent it to me, I said, I don't want to like this pedal. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want to like it because it's I praise the high and mighty 5150 overdrive, and I plug that thing in for about 5 minutes, and I always do the thing when I test a pedal. I'll spend no more than 5 minutes with it, and then I shut it off and I walk away. And if there's enough need, if I find there's a need to make me come back again and give it some more time, then it's almost like a first interview and a second interview kind of thing,
Yeah, sure.
Applying for a job. So the first interview is like, okay, well, I like your look, I like your hair, it's just good, And then I was like, okay, I went back to it and fell in love with it, and I said, okay, great, I love the pedal, and I'm going to give it away now, and I'm going to miss it. But it's one of those things where it's a good thing too, because someone else will appreciate it, and then I'll get back to my amp distortion again too. So, but there are some good Van Halen ones out there.
There's great ones, and I think within 5 minutes whether it's going to work for you or not. I mean,
yep.
You pretty much plug in and play a couple chords, and if it's going to work.
I've been to some music stores. I'm sure you've done this before. You go into a music store. Hey, buddy, can I try that one on the pedal? The pedal, the bottom one on the second from the right. Yeah, here you go. Go plug it in. You hit it. It's like E, and then you bring it back. It's like, oh, did you like it? And you're kind of like, well, I might try something else. In other words, it totally sucked. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can never, and then I can never, like, I don't know why, but like they always sound different in the store until you get them home.
That's
too.
Right.
Like, I don't know whether the amps are just tired in the store or I find a lot of time like manufacturers just kind of bias the amps kind of cold coming out.
Yeah.
Like I always have to, whenever I buy an amp, I rebias it, and it's always, a lot of times it's pretty cold, so you kind of goose a little bit, and then you're like, okay, there's the sound that, but Yeah, I mean, I don't judge something fully by the way it sounds in the store. A lot of times you get home on your own stuff and it sounds like, it sounds a little different.
I think there's different things too. Like I know myself, I'm a bit nervous in a music store. So there's the nerve factor, so you're not playing your best. And like you say, it's a different environment. Growing up in Canada, it was, and probably the older days in the States too, like, so Canada's a little bit slower than the United States when it comes to, well, I shouldn't say that. We're just more relaxed, I guess we'll say, right? And I could go into music stores, the local mom and pop music stores. Like I'm not talking like Guitar Centers or things like that. We don't have those here, but we have our Long McQuaid's and things like that. You'd know about that because they carry your strings, and a lot of your products. But I could walk to the music store here and say, "Hey, Bob, can I take that pedal home for the weekend and give it a try?" They would literally let you do that. You could take a pedal home for the weekend or an amplifier or a guitar, play it in your bedroom, play it in your living room, take it to band practice, play a gig if you want, and then you go back on Monday and you say, "Yeah, I liked it. What kind of deal can we work out?" Or else, "No, it didn't work. I'm sorry, I wasted it for the weekend." And they're cool about that. They'd rather you do that than take it home and ask for a refund or something, right?
That's awesome. Yeah. They would never do that in New York.
I know. Different story.
That definitely wouldn't happen. Yeah. That's awesome. I mean, that's great that you can do that.
And there's still some shops here. I mean, I could go into the stores today and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do it. I need a Supro to do a demo for a video. Would you let me borrow one?" And they'd be yeah. They may not do it for everybody, but if you do enough business with the store and you're nice to them, and they'll let you do it. But I understand in the big cities, you run out that door, you're gone, you're never coming back.
Yeah, half the people are not coming back with that.
That's right. I'm gonna jump back to the chat just for a quick second. We'll jump into some more Van Halen questions. So we got Mike Ray jumping in saying, "Hey." Jay Humphreys saying, "Hey everybody." And Jay just got a really cool, I can see it in his avatar, he got a Wolfgang, I think it was either a special or a standard, but it had a guy do a special paint job on it for him. And I think he sent me some pictures. I think I have them. If not, I'll get them off his Facebook. I'll show you later. You'd love them. And I'll put it on the EVH Gear TV Facebook page to share with people. So a picture like a nice little flamey, like flames you normally see like on a race car kind of thing, except the flames are all the red, white, and black stripe pattern.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's really cool. On a black guitar, it looks really, really awesome.
Oh, that's got to look crazy.
Yeah, it's really nice on a gloss, too, so it looks really, really nice. So I was really happy to see that. Lau Ketchum says, "Lansing, Michigan can use some good music." MB215 says, "What's up, everybody? A little late after finishing up a setup for a customer." Lispellin says, "Hey, hello, rockers." Everyone's wishing Poison Ivy some well wishes. Let me see here. Quentin James, "Some friends of mine are opening for Bush tonight outside." That's kind of neat. I did some Bush covers before. Bush is pretty cool. Let me see here. Thomas Santiago says, "Hey, Eric and Rob and everyone in the chat." And I'm just seeing if I've missed anyone else. U.S. American Made Guitars is joining. He has a really cool channel as well, too. Hey, everybody. Good to see Rob again. Hi, Poison Ivy. So he obviously caught your last show here.
Great.
Lau Ketchum is echoing a statement that we were talking about earlier. Depression is no joke, for sure. Definitely sure. Sammy H. fan saying hello all. Curtis Murata, and I jumped too fast, and this happens every once in a while. Let me go back a little bit. Oh, our good friend Sam is joining.
Gotta have Sam.
Gotta have Sam. And he might have said something earlier. I jumped too fast. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm glad to have Sam in. I was talking to him just this morning and saying, "Hey, I hope you can make it," because Rob's on tonight, and he knew ahead of time that you were here, so I didn't have to tell him anything. Sammy says, "Enjoying the show." Richard Schick says, "What's up, guys?" I was talking to Richard actually earlier today as well on Facebook. Cutter Savage. We got some great guitar players in the house tonight. Doc Taris is trying to catch up. Speed 1.5 until I do. Whereas Rob? Rob's here. And Tactical Sand sounds great, so he was complimenting on the playing there. And U.S. American Made Guitar says, "Yes, that's a ticket." So people definitely loving the sound. Jay Humphreys saying sounds killer. So we got good sound tonight. It sounds really good. So thank you for miking up the rig. That helped a lot for sure. Down towards the bottom, Bane Rocks. That's my little guy. Let me see here. Sand Killer. Sam's loving the tone. MB says that MXR Reverb is my favorite one. No, it only has 6 settings, but those 6 sound great. That's the thing. You could have 100 settings and maybe only 2 sound great. Well, if 6 of them are on there and 6 sound great, you got a great pedal.
Yeah, I mean, I always just go right to a plate reverb.
Yeah.
And I just kind of leave it there and just a little bit of it. And no, it's a great sounding pedal. It really is.
I tend to gravitate to the plate as well. Yeah.
It's just because it's not too much. Like when you go to a hall, it like takes over the tone a little bit too much. Like a plate just seems like to be like the perfect amount.
I agree. I agree with that. MB says MXR just came out with a new booster where they took the Echoplex boost they made and the micro amp boost and combined them in one pedal, was shown at Summer NAMM. Do you know about that one?
I don't know that one.
Okay.
I'll have to check that one out.
They brought out a bunch of new pedals too. They brought out the carbon copy. What do they want to call it? The carbon copy deluxe, or something like that.
Yeah, it has like tap tempo and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Yeah, that looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's neat.
And I have the what's the other one? It's like their preamp. It's almost like the EP boost. It's their version
or something.
No, it's not the micro. I forget what they call it. It's supposed to be their like an Echoplex. But it doesn't have the delay. It's just the preamp of the Echoplex. And that's another great sounding pedal.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Jay Humphrey says loves chorus. Here's one that there's a term that you're going to recognize. I know you had it in your rig. I had it in my rig. Every soundman had it in a rig. He had this is Quentin James, had a used SPX 90 for my delay.
Yep.
That was the unit to have. I mean, every soundman had 2 or 3 of those, 4 of those in their rigs.
Yeah, at one time that was the unit. Yeah, that was the unit.
Yep, and you'd see riders come through that when I worked in music retail stores. We would provide backline for some of the big acts that would come through, and you'd see the rider come through with SPX 90, Elisa's Quadriverb, Rock Drone and Telefx, all those ones that we've just talked about tonight. Those were the staples that you had to have, and if you couldn't have the SPX, it would be this. If you couldn't have that, it would be this. And after that, you don't get the gig. If you don't get one of those 3 right. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that was a great piece too.
It was for sure. Another one. Remember the there's another Yamaha. The Rex. I want to say, is it the Rex 50? Does that sound right?
Rex, yes. You know what? I think I have one down.
Do ya?
I do.
It's a half rack unit.
Yep, I have one of those.
That's cool. I had one with my Marshall JCM 900 high gain dual reverb, and here again, I really wish I would have got the master volume, but I got the dual reverb because I'm thinking I want reverb. And I needed some extra effects, so I got the Rex 50. It had that big dial on the front, and it didn't do it for me, but it's a good unit.
Yeah, and it's funny that you bring up a 900 because I have a JCM 900. And I know like a lot of Marshall people kind of rip on them, and you either love them or you hate them,
right?
You know? And my 900, I have one that just sounds monstrous. It's just a great sounding head. But I know a lot of like true Marshall guys, just like, you tell them you play a 900 and they're like, ugh, but I don't know. I have a killer sounding one. It's just a great sounding head.
Do you use it for bands, for band gigs?
I have it with the another band that I play with, and we only play like once a year, maybe. It's all my friends from high school. Mm-hmm. And my drummer has a studio in his house, so I leave that head in a 412 at his house all the time. And then when we all can get together, we all go over there and we'll have some jams. But it's a great sounding. I love the 900 heads. Those are great heads.
Yeah, I would like to have one again. And I bought it because at the time I had some money to spend and bought everything brand new. Bought the 2 412s in the head, and then I didn't know what to do with it because I was very, very young, like either a late teen or a very young adult. And just, I was playing some Strats at the time, and of course, nice Strats, but single coil Strats, and that's not going to sound very good.
Right, yeah.
I certainly couldn't play Stevie Ray Vaughan, so, I was like, what am I going to do? And I remember putting a TS9 in the front of it, and that sounded pretty cool. Got the Rex 50, and just is like, it's not for me, and I sold it for like next to nothing. I think I'd probably traded it for a crate or something. You know what I mean? Probably something of that nature. And oh man, it's the things that we do, right? But it shapes us, right? No matter how many dumb things we do with trades and stuff like that, it shapes us, and you remember, oh man, I took a bad loss, and there's an embarrassment, and it kind of shapes your character. And,
we've all done that.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And the music stores love it. They're like, yes, I'll take that JCM 900 full stack for a crate, no problem.
Yeah.
And I'll throw in a chord for you. You're really pushing me today, but I'll throw in a chord. Yeah, it's a radio.
They turn around
track.
to like, let me talk to the manager. I'll see what I can do. And
yeah, and he says, okay, don't laugh. Don't laugh. I'm going to ask you something. Don't laugh. Right?
Exactly.
That's hilarious. Tactical Six String says he's stuck in the 80s, and I am too. Anything I do is 80s. I love it. Are you an 80s guy, Rob? Or are you more modern?
I am. No, I'm kind of 80. I mean, that was like when I was in high school and stuff. So, you always kind of stick to that music.
Yep, Maiden and like Judas Priest, Ozzy, Black Sabbath, all that kind of stuff. Love it.
The only thing about the 80s I will say is just the production of the time. It's very kind of dated sounding. So sometimes when you listen to those recordings, like you could listen to an album from the 60s and 70s and you put it on now and it still sounds like really good.
Yeah.
Some of the albums not all, but some of the albums from the 80s, they just kind of have that production quality that doesn't quite hold up.
Horrible snare drum that just pierces your head. It's just horrible.
All reverb everywhere, and like it was just. But I mean, that's the only thing about the '80s music. I think that just the way some of it was recorded doesn't hold up. But I mean, it was great stuff. And then in the cover band I play with, we have a whole '80s set, and I have to say, I don't know whether it's the age of the people that come to see us play or whatever, but like whenever we start that '80s set, the whole place just goes bonkers. It's so funny.
I believe it. Yeah, they want to relive that moment, right? Exactly.
So, I mean, whenever we start that set, it's like, all right, here we go. And, the place is going to get into it. So,
That's right.
There's something about that music,
Yep. And, it's funny, like, here we are. We're kind of slamming 80s music a little bit with the production. However, on the flip side of that, there was a lot of new innovation in the 80s. And so if there's innovation, let's try it. Let's use it. And everyone was using it in excess. But you can't blame these people, right? I mean, I wasn't doing much recording in the 80s because I was relatively young, but I was playing. But if there's stuff available, why not use it, right?
Yeah, sure.
You just have to know when to discipline yourself and not go overboard with that.
No, it was great. I mean, I think just the way I guess they treated reverb back then, like. Every snare had that gated kush.
The reverb was a member of the band.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably really the main reason why, like, some of the recordings, sound a little cheesy when you listen to them now.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of great stuff back then.
I agree.
It was also like the atmosphere of the music. A lot of the '80s music was just like party music.
It was.
Even the heavy stuff was just about having a good time and partying, and it was good stuff, good times.
That's why I like to listen to a lot of 80s radio, because then you're like, oh, I know that song. Oh, I know that song. There's not one song that goes by. You may not like them all, but you know them.
You know it, yeah, definitely, for sure.
And you know what you're doing that year, that summer. Oh, that's when I met so-and-so, or that's when we got our first gig, or our first breakdown in our vehicle. Remember? Like those kind of things.
Yep.
That's cool. So Tactical, he's saying stuck in the 80s, and a lot of us are. Constance is saying, hi, Eric. It's Connie and Dave. Let me see here. Neil Swan. It says, want to buy a Tascam 4-track cassette. Those things were great. You remember the Tascam, the Fostex units back in the day?
I have one somewhere in my garage with inches of dust on it, probably someplace. Yeah, but that's what we did all our recording on. Those are awesome.
They're very cool. Do you remember Tascam had one unit? I owned one. This is when they got like kind of prosumer. It was called the Tascam. I want to say the Porta Studio 244 or something like that. I think it was still 4-track, might have been 8-track. It was strictly it was cassette as well, but that thing was freaking amazing.
I think I had the first like generation one with like the big round knobs. It was like the Porta.
Okay, yeah.
The Porta 1 or something like that, and you had to like fill up and then bounce the tracks and then fill it up and then bounce those tracks, and if you made a bad mix decision, it was all over.
Yeah. My first multi-track unit was not a multi-track unit. My parents had bought me, I'm not sure what you call them in the United States. We call them ghetto blasters, or boom box or whatever, right? And it was like a cassette player, big speakers, you carry, walk down the street with them. And it had 2 cassette decks in it. And so it was nice. You could play a cassette and record to the next one. But there was some kind of a flaw with it. Like, it wasn't supposed to do this, but you could run a microphone into it, or in this case, your guitar. It had a 1/4-inch input in it. So I could record something on B side, and I take that out, put it on A, put it in a blank tape on B, and I would, whatever was played now on A, I could overdub on top of that. Now, you just keep repeating. There's no real level control, so your level was your guitar or your mixer or whatever you had.
And you can't make a mistake.
No, you don't make a mistake. You just have to start all over again. But I was doing that, and my friends on the school bus, were like, hey, man, this is pretty cool. Yeah, I got a studio. And meanwhile, it's a ghetto blaster, right?
I kind of did the same thing, but I figured out that the way those tape machines worked, when you went to re-record something, there's actually an erase head and then a play head.
Right.
So I would record, and then when I went to play it again, I would press record, but I used to put a piece of like Scotch tape over the erase head.
Okay.
So then it wouldn't erase whatever was on the tape deck, and then I would lay down another track. But it was the same thing. Yeah, you had to have the level right. You couldn't make a mistake, otherwise it was back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I would peel the piece of tape off the erase head, but it worked. It was cheesy, but it worked.
It works, right? And as kids, we didn't have like the endless wallets to go buy studio gear, or our parents didn't have it.
Yep.
That's hilarious.
But hey, you deal with what you got.
That's right. I was just telling Junior the other day about my first Sony Walkman. I remember working as a kid in the corn. We used in Canada here, but probably some rural places in the States too. Detasseling corn is a good job for kids. It sucks. It's like boot camp. It's a horrible job, but it pays good for a kid. And the first Walkman I ever bought, Sony real branded Walkman, was about $500 or $600, and as a teenager, 13,
I know they were big bucks.
That's big bucks, and but it sounded amazing. And I'm sure you've had your generation after generation of Walkman and Discmans and things like that.
Yep, I had those. Yeah, I think I had all of them. And then you would drop it and be like, ah.
Yep. Yeah, I know.
It would chew through batteries, and didn't have we didn't have rechargeable batteries then, of course.
Yeah,
and then right, so you always rifling through batteries and everything else. And the Discman was cool too. That was fun.
It was good. Then they come up with anti-skip and things like that. That was a great innovation. Now you can actually.
Oh God, remember? Yeah, the first one you couldn't do anything with it. You had to walk around and not move it, oh. Yeah. Otherwise, they would just skip like crazy.
And then the first one, when they bring it up with the anti-skip, it would have only a second and a half or 3 seconds, so you can actually go like this for a second, and then you're okay. But anything after that, so if you're having a bit of a seizure, that's not necessarily for you.
If you fell down the stairs, you're done.
No, it's not for you. Nope, this one's not for you. So where are you going to be using this? And they kind of the salesman at the Best Buys and the places like that have to pre-qualify you where you're going to be using the thing. Are you using it for military in the dunes and things like that? Okay, this one's not for you.
Yep.
Now we've got MP3 players and Bluetooth everything and all these. It's a cool world.
It is a cool world.
Scary
it's
world
awesome
too.
Now.
Yeah.
I know, but the stuff that you can do at home now, it's unbelievable.
Computers, recording.
The recording quality that you can just do out of your house it's insane now. It's just getting better and better and better.
I know a lot of guys are doing it. Demos are sounding pretty darn good.
It doesn't cost a lot of money. You buy Logic. Logic is $200, and everything that you get is it's everything you need.
I agree. The same thing with modeling too. That's one of the questions I had later on in the program. But some of the software, I'm using a lot of Positive Grid stuff on my computer, and I was never ever a fan of fake stuff. But there's been some things where I've done some demos where I didn't even fire up my amplifier. I'd be 100% honest. There's not one real guitar amplifier on some of these demo tracks I've done, and they sound pretty darn good.
Yeah, it's come a long way. The stuff that they're doing now is amazing.
Yep. It's nice when you get the inspiration. Sometimes when inspiration hits, it hits us all when we're least expecting it. When you want inspiration to hit, it's almost like saying you're going to make a video and it's going to go viral. No, it's not. It's the thing, when you expect something to happen, it's not going to happen. And when you expect to have inspiration, you don't have it. So when that nice moment hits you and you've got this guitar riff in your head, sometimes it's a bit of a bugger to go mic up your cabinet. Does this sound good? By the time you get it all ready to go, you've invested an hour and a half, and now you haven't even laid down a track yet. And it's like, you know what? Screw it. I don't even want to do this anymore. But you plug into an interface, it sounds pretty good. Or like we talked earlier about having all this gain. We feel good. Record it. You got your riff.
Right. And sometimes I'm just plain lazy. I just don't feel like firing up all the gear. It's just easy to plug into the interface and bring up a modeling thing, and it's, you're playing in 2 seconds. It's great.
I agree with that 100%. Jay Humphrey says, delay in chorus, my safety net. I like that. Quentin James says, if your rack lit up like Christmas, you are way cool. That's true. That's probably why you're using that one EQ. It looks really good.
It was. I used to have this, I think it was 20 space rack, totally filled with stuff, and I would say three quarters of it wasn't hooked up. It just made it look really cool.
Oh, for sure. Quentin's a guitar player of the 80s as well too, and he's saying here, he says, and I've seen some of these pictures. He says, I have pictures on my Facebook page of some of my old rack gear, and this is pretty much 80s child posters right here. 88 MP1, Hush 2C, Roland SDE 100.
Yep.
That's, you're like, oh man, this guy's a great guitar player before you even hear him play.
Yep.
If you had long hair, Les Paul, and had exactly what he just said, then you're great. You want to be in my band?
You were done. Yep. You didn't even have to try out for the band.
That's right. We're going to be my guitar player. That's awesome. Love it. I think I'm just almost down to the bottom of the chat. I saw Insomniac Matt joining us. He says it's not the mini head, hits a full-on 100-watt head with the 412 speakers. And he was also saying, I missed his question earlier. He says he would take a Roland Cube over his Valve King amp. Let me see here. What else I missed? Curtis Murata says, man, I could totally relate to what you guys are talking about. My radio was my first amplifier. Yeah. Plug it into a parent's home stereos. That's what I did too.
I started when I first started. It was one of those old school, the big wood things with the console and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And I think I fried the speakers in it.
Yep. What I did with that thing, my mom and dad had one. It was pretty powerful. Those were beautiful units too. That's real wood too. Had a record player, AM, FM, and this one had an 8-track player in it, which is really dating it. But we're talking 70s. And so I was able to plug into that. Had a microphone jack, and I didn't even have an electric guitar. I took my parents' headphones, and they had some decent headphones, real big ones. And I broke one of the speakers off the headphone, and I duct taped it to my acoustic guitar. So basically, in essence, made a bit of a microphone, and just plugged it into this thing and turned it up full blast, and it sounded like distortion, because it was just literally ripping everything apart, and it was pretty cool.
It was ingenious.
It worked, and all the kids of the neighborhood, they get their parents to drive them down to my house because we live far away from everybody, and I'd put on little concerts in the bedroom, and it was pretty neat.
That is awesome.
Yeah. Let me see here. A U.S. American Made says, let me see. Insomniac Timothy Pierce is joining before. He says, Eric, my cousin recorded drums over so many tracks with Rush tunes, with him playing over the drums with Rush on a dual cassette boombox. So yeah, a lot of people do that. Yep, the dual cassette. Yep. It worked. U.S. American Made Guitar says, I have a Charvel bass amp, not the best, but it's Charvel, so it's cool. Agreed. Yep. Some people, you have to start somewhere, right? And Sam is saying having pizza and a Michelob Ultra while watching you guys. It's a good Friday. It sounds like a good Friday for sure. And it's good to have you too, man.
Sam.
Yes. The three of us have to get together sometime in the near future. That would be a real treat. I'd love to do that.
We have to. You have to go to NAMM again this next.
Yes. I'm going to work on being there again for sure. That'd be great. You're going to be there in January?
Yep, we'll be there.
Okay, good. Sam, let's make it happen. Sam says he loves his Charvel SoCal, and if it wasn't for Sam, NAMM would have really sucked for me. So that's why Sam and I are such good friends now. You and I have talked about that off the air. Let me see. Tactical Six String says that now I have 2009 USA and Taxi Cab Yellow. Very nice. And I'll get down to the bottom, and I'm going to jump over. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight some of these last questions. And I want to jump over because there's a lot of Van Halen questions we're going to just save for another day because we're at 10:10 as it is now. I want to talk about some of the new products that you've got coming out from D'Addario. And one of them is very, very cool. You've got a new tuner. You've got some slides and picks. You can tell us about the slides and picks and the artists that you're working with directly on that. But let's talk a little bit about this tuner pedal. Everybody needs one. And a lot of kids, here's where some advice I want to give to kids. Kids have a hard time going to the music store and spending $100, $150 on a tuner because all it does is tune your guitar. They want something that's going to make their guitar, make them sound like a rock star.
All right, sound like something, yeah.
Yeah. However, youngsters out there of the world, you're going to sound like a much better rock star if you're in tune. So they're very, very important. So tell me a little bit about this new tuner and what it's all about.
So the new one, I have the box right here. Let's see. So it's kind of like the mini. It's not a full mini. It's a mini in the width.
Okay.
But it's a little bit taller than your average mini.
Okay.
And we just wanted to do that because putting a tuner screen in a true mini body, it's just not enough resolution to make it easy to read. So this is what it looks like outside the case.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's kind of like ramped up so that it's facing you.
I like that.
It's kind of angled up at you, and it's really pretty basic. Like we know there's a lot of tuners out on the market that have all kinds of bells and whistles, and usually all we do is plug in and we tune our guitar, and you don't use half the features. So it's real basic. You can calibrate it to different frequencies if you want. It's true bypass. And but the main thing is just like it's crazy fast. I mean, you could literally. I think Thomas was saying when he was on. I mean, you could literally play a scale, and it recognizes every note.
Wow!
And not that you would tune that way, but it's just nice that when you're, you're in between songs, and you only have a second or a couple of seconds to check your tuning. The second you hit your string, it's going to display the note, and you get tuned right away and get done quick. The display is pretty bright. Let's see if we can light it up here. I don't know if we can see it. Oh, wait, it would help if you plugged into the input. I'm backwards.
It's all good. Oh, you can definitely see that.
It's pretty bright. It's got a whole bunch of LEDs on the inside, and you can see it outdoors on an outdoor gig.
Yeah.
And it's a good tuner. The reaction's been amazing. We were actually out of stock for a little while because it just kind of took off. So
now,
it's
is that
been
an
great.
all glass display on top of it? Because it looks like a glass.
Yeah, it's all glass. It's kind of, you know, we definitely were inspired by like iPhones and stuff like that. You know, so it is all glass on top, and it's got a very long display so that the resolution, you know, it's kind of easy to read.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when you have a tuner, it only has like 2 bars, like, you know, a couple bars on each side of the in-tune window. You know, the resolution's a little too fast. I mean, it makes it hard to tune.
To get precise, you'd never be able to do any intonation or anything like that. Now, here's a question. I'm sure this has been asked, and I'm going to ask it now because I have accidents. If I take my guitar cord out and I drop my guitar cord from 4 feet in the air and it lands on the front of that, is there potential damage to shatter that glass?
No, it actually is. I'll be honest with you, I don't remember the name of the glass, but it is really strong, and it could take an impact. It also sits like lower than the level of the body.
Okay, that's nice. So your cord's gonna probably bounce off a side or something. Right,
and even when you're stepping on it, you're more prone to hit the metal than to you know, actually step on the. You'll never actually just step on the lens.
Yeah.
It's pretty much impossible. And then the button is pretty high, so it's pretty easy to actuate it. It's the width of a mini pedal, so it doesn't take up much room, and it's just a little bit taller. And exactly, we did that so you get that resolution, so it makes it nice and easy to tune.
I like that, and I'm sure you've related because I'm sure you've taken your guitar cord out and dropped it on some pedals and a nice whack on the board.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
We've all done that.
Yep.
And when we were designing this, I mean, my biggest beef with like some pedal tuners, and so even some of ours in the past, it's just the reaction time. Because like, you know, I find that like sometimes you're playing a song and you're like, oh, I know one of my strings is out of tune, or I know my E string is out of tune right now, and you get to the end of the song, but the next song's starting pretty soon, and you just want the tuner to react like that and be super fast.
I know.
So we actually did something. We actually put a 32-bit processor in this.
Okay.
And that's what really allowed us to make it recognize the notes so fast, and then do the give you the tuning information.
Now, I have just sitting in my hand right now. I've got the tuner that you sent me, just the headstock tuner. What is? Can you see that one?
Yep.
Now, what do you call that one again?
That is the NS Micro.
These things work great. I've never been a headstock tuner. I've never owned one in my life. I was always using a pedal, but they work fantastic, like fantastic. I told Junior I'm going to get him one as well too for his guitars upstairs. Like he's just learning how to tune and things like that as well too. And he tunes to concert pitch in his guitar, so he doesn't have to worry about the, you know, half step down, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But they are really, really accurate. I've used them from the Wolfgangs. I've used them on the PRSs. Each one of those headstocks are a little different. Very easy to adjust. They're super convenient, accurate. I love them.
I mean, everything is headstock tuners now. You don't even see the old school, like, you know, desktop models that you plug into with the microphone or anything. You don't even see them anymore. They're just like, you know, it's a thing of the past, kind of, in a way. Everything's headstock. And when we designed that one, the main thing we thought about is, like, you know, a lot of the headstock tuners are, you know, that you see, they're just big.
Yeah. And
it's this thing on your headstock that looks kind of
like
weird.
A mirror or something.
Yeah, so we were like, you know, why do you know, you have a really cool looking guitar, like, why do you want to put something on it, you know?
Distract
so
it.
So we really wanted our tuners to be stealth, you know, and just kind of like hide in the background, and, you know, no one needs to know that you have a tuner on your headstock, you know?
No.
We have bigger models for people that, like, you know, want a bigger screen and stuff like that. But that one's whole intention was just to be like kind of stealth and be incognito and make it easy for the person to get in tune.
That's right. I'm going to turn on the display for a second. I'll show you. All you're probably seeing right now is the 440. Let me try that again. So you can see, some people can see that display right now. It's very easy to read. Like, I have horrible vision, and I can read it no problem. Try one more time. There we go. So you can see the display on it. Very, very easy to read. And the fact that you can tilt it which way you want, so you can just, wherever your headstock will fit, you can angle it at your face or away from your face or whatever. It's just nice to actually be able to tune, turn your volume off on your guitar, and not have to step on any pedal, and just acoustically tune, and where no one's going to know you're doing it, and have an immediate response. I love it. So great device. But let's. So I love that tuner idea. I think that's fantastic. And if I'm not mistaken, we're going to give one of those away tonight. Is that correct?
We are. I have this one. It's an extra. It's floating around, so we got to give it to somebody.
All right. So I'm going to come up with a question here in a few minutes, and we'll try to determine what we're going to do. And it's funny. One of the last times too, I told Poison Ivy, I said, "Watch the chat," and here you help me make sure we pick the right person here, because when, you know, sometimes people will say something at the same time, and you're not sure who said it first. And she's like, "But you didn't tell me what the answer was." so I got to try to relay her the message. But we'll be doing that very soon. But let's move on to a couple other products while we're thinking of a good trivia question. You've been working with another artist on a couple new products, and tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, so we have a couple signature ones. So this is a pick that we worked on. It's gonna be hard to show a pick, but that we worked on directly with Keith Urban. And this is a pretty unique little thing. I don't know if you can see like the little bumps in the corner there.
I can a little tiny bit, yes.
Right. So most people think that's for grip, but he actually likes to use that on the strings. So he has the regular tip for playing standard, and then sometimes when he plays up on the neck, he likes to use the more rounded part because it kind of gets rid of some harmonics and makes the tone a little bit warmer. And then he likes to use the bumps on the string, and you really get this like crazy grating. It's like a scratching, grating sound. Okay. And you get all these harmonics that kind of like spring out from the string because, you know, they're rubbing against all these little nubs here. And that's the way he uses it. So he has like kind of 3 playing surfaces, and he just kind of spins his pick around. So this is coming out momentarily. It's actually not on the market yet, but it's coming out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And then this is a bad example of this slide. You know what? Do I have this slide here? I do. So then we worked with Rich Robinson from the Black Crowes. Mm-hmm. And he's been a endorsee for a while, and then he came to us and he wanted to do a slide. He had a couple ideas for a good slide, and he's a phenomenal slide player. So we ended up doing a Rich Robinson signature slide. Now this one is a little banged up because I was actually playing around with kind of making one look really retro. So I was playing around with this, kind of purposely making it look old. But the cool thing about this one is that it has a taper inside there.
Okay, nice. I like that.
So it actually conforms to your finger and kind of sits right on it. And the cool thing about that is a lot of times when a slide is one-dimensional, it has some play. So when you move your finger, there's actually like a split second where your finger's moving, but the slide isn't reacting until you hit one of the edges.
Yeah.
And then it moves. With this one, it kind of gets right onto your finger, and there's no wiggle room. So the second you move your finger, the slide's following you. And that's kind of what he wanted the slide to be about. So it's solid brass, really thick brass. It's pretty heavy, actually. And then it has its own custom taper inside. It's got the Rich Robinson logo down here on the bottom. And this one is shipping now. We got this one out now, and he's loving it. And so far, the sales are really good. So it's been a great product.
Oh, good. Good. And speaking of picks, I had this on the question for you as well too. A lot of people they know you for strings. Obviously, they know a little bit about picks, but you do custom imprinted guitar picks. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we have a site called Build a Pick.
Okay.
And you basically go on there, and it walks you through the process. It's really easy to do. So you can either just use our own fonts and stuff and just type on a pick and design something of your own, or you can upload JPEGs or any picture that you want. Well, not any picture that you want. We will stop some pictures.
Yeah.
We have to do that every once in a while.
It's a little too risque, or maybe copyrighted material, or
exactly. Yeah, we can't allow copyrighted logos and stuff like that, and some risque stuff we have to kill. But and it's great, you know. So if you want to put your band logo up, you want to put your signature or something like that, your autograph on your pick. You could do that pretty much anything that you want. And then you have a bunch of picks, you know, either Delrin or celluloid and whatever colors that you want. And then we print them out for you, and then we send it to your house.
Fantastic.
Mine is, let's see if we can see that. So on my pick, I got like this little skull here.
Oh, yeah.
And then even though I'm not famous, I got my signature. It looks really like an insect or something. I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah, you can see that, yeah. No, but fans like that. Especially with you doing the stuff that you're doing, a lot of 80s music, fans will always love that. They'll want to keep a guitar pick and set lists and stuff like that. Yeah,
so it's fun. You know, it's just fun to have your own pick.
It is.
And it's great. I mean, it's really not that. I think our minimum is like 100 picks. You don't even have to do like a ton of them, you know.
Yeah.
And it's a good gift item or something like that. And it's amazing like how many picks we do like with wedding information on it.
Sure.
Or stuff like that.
Something.
Yeah, little favors and stuff like that. So, or backyard barbecues or whatever, you know. We get all kinds of picks for crazy occasions and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's real easy to do. You just go on the website and it kind of walks you through the process, and you design your pick, and then we just ship it out to you.
Simple. Is that what they refer to as the gross of picks, is 100?
A gross is actually what one? I should know the 144. I believe.
Is it? Okay, I remember the term from the day because I've ordered picks in the past. You can order them by the gross minimum. Blah blah blah.
Right. Yeah, we just do them in hundreds.
That's nice. That's easy.
Yeah, 100 picks. That's fine for most people. And then you can do crazy amounts if you want. And
sure. Touring bands,
we have all our artists that do our their own tour picks and everything through the site and everything. So
yeah. Speaking of which, here's another question, and we're going to jump back to the chat in a second as well too. But you work very closely with a lot of artists. You've talked in the past about working with the Straps with Joe Satriani and things like that. Have there been any artists that you've worked with where you've got to play some of their guitars, and did you have any magical moments with those at all?
I mean, I did definitely get to play, some people's guitars. I told you the last time I was on the show and I had to play one of Joe's guitars in front of him, and that was kind of weird. I definitely didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
When Satriani hands you Chrome Boy to demo something, it was like, oh God.
I'll polish it for you.
I got to up close with a lot of Keith Urban's guitars during the pick designing process, and got to check them out. Oh God, I can't even think of any. But yeah, there's been a few cool things.
One of those things where, like you say, it's one of the things you'd love to have the opportunity, but then when you get the opportunity, it's like, oh, why would I ever wish for this? You know what I mean?
Exactly, and it was funny. I was talking to my wife because with Greg Allman again, another one dying recently. I was bringing strings to the band one time. They were playing the Beacon Theater in New York, and they were really great. So they let us they gave us a spot right on the stage to watch the show.
Nice.
So we were right on the side of the stage, and they didn't go on yet. And my wife's gonna kill me for telling the story. So we're standing there, and then the whole band comes out, and they're waiting to be introduced. And so they end up standing right next to us. So I'm there, my wife's next to me, and Greg Allman's standing shoulder to shoulder with my wife. And so she looks up at him, and he looks down, and he goes, "Darling," and she just looks at me, and she goes, "He was married to Cher." And I was just like, "Oh my God, that's like all you know about this guy." I was like, I really hope he did not hear you just say that, But it was so funny, But he was so nice. He looked down at her, he's like, "Darling," and everything, and then
that's awesome.
Yeah, she knew him for being married to Cher.
That was she was in the moment. She was excited. That's all that matters, right?
It was so funny.
That's so cool.
Some cool moments like that. So that's funny.
Well, that's nice, man. Yeah, for sure. Jump back to the chat just for a quick second. Quentin James says he managed music stores and sold a ton of D'Addario, both direct and through KMC. Very, very cool. And the stores I worked at too, both retailers I worked at, did a lot of D'Addario products. And that was always a good seller. And I'm telling you, I have not killed those NYXLs that you sent me. And you sent me those how long ago?
That was a while though.
Last show.
They last a long time. They take a beating, those things.
No, I'm not even wiping the strings down anymore. I'm not even wiping them down anymore. I'm just to that lazy. I used to wipe my strings down all the time after playing. And they're rocking. They sound beautiful acoustically still. So I know they're a little pricey than normal strings, but they're worth the investment. Yeah,
they are more money, of course, but there's some technology and materials in there that cost more than the average string.
Exactly.
But they last a long time, and I just love the tuning stability of them. That does it for me. I mean, they stretch out really fast, and then you can bend like crazy on those things, and you don't got to tune.
And work great with the Floyd. Really, really good.
Especially with the Floyd, yeah, because you don't want to be changing strings on those. It's too much.
I have not broke one yet, and that's I know they're not indestructible when there's no claims of that. But I mean, since you've sent them to me, I have not broke one. I have them on 2 Floyd guitars, and I have them on a hardtail. And I have not broke a string yet, and I played all 3 of those guitars equally. So I'm telling you, they'll take some abuse for sure. And that's 9 to 42 I'm playing. I'm not playing super crazy heavy gauge or anything like that either. So guys, check that out. Yeah,
every guitar string's going to break eventually. Of course they're going to break, and they're going to they're going to tarnish eventually. They're going to sound crappy eventually. But you just want to make it put that as far down the road as possible.
Exactly. Especially for the working guys that are taking out 3, 4, sometimes 5 guitars. That's obviously the big guys, but 3 guitars, 3 sets of strings every weekend can be expensive. You're not making a ton of money, right? So make that last a month if you can, if possible, or whatever.
Sure, why not?
Yeah,
make it last as long as you can.
That's right. Tactical 6 String says, looks nice, looks like a smartphone, referring to the tuner, and I agree with that. Tim Pierce says, I hope to go to NAMM next year. And I think Sam mentioned that. Yeah, Sam says NAMM for sure. So we're going to talk over the coming months, and we're going to put that together for sure. Darren Moore is jumping in. He's saying doing a quick check-in while in Hilton Head, South Carolina. He's traveling with his family right now, having a great vacation. Darren's going to be coming my way here very soon too. He's going to be coming up into Canada. We're going to be visiting someone special up here. We'll leave that for a special thing later on. It's going to be a really cool video we're doing together. Definitely EVH related, so that's going to be fun. Poison Ivy says, hey Darren, hope you're enjoying yourself. And okay, here's a good question. Now, Daktar saying how much, and Tactical says, is it waterproof? Okay, so we're referring to the tuner. So we spill a beer or a pop on that thing. Is it going to survive for the most part?
Yeah, it'll definitely survive. You got to make everything beer proof.
There you go. Right. And what's retail price on that?
Retail, they're in the stores right now. They're selling in the stores for about $69.
Oh,
US.
Dirt cheap.
Yeah. It's really not an expensive tuner.
Okay, good.
And we wanted to keep it that way, because we know people, like you said before, people, especially a kid, if he's spending a lot of money, he wants an effect that sounds cool and it has bells and whistles and everything else, So we wanted to keep it affordable. So yeah, it's about $70 in the store.
Fantastic. Timothy Pierce says, wow, Eric and Rob Cunningham, that looks so cool. Darren's saying he's doing well. Josh D says, I like it. I like that. Is it more accurate than a clip-on tuner? Obviously, it would be more accurate than a clip-on tuner, or is there?
It's more accurate, but I mean, all tuners nowadays are pretty accurate. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's definitely a little bit of a difference, between some. This one is really accurate. I mean, once you get the two green lights and then you strum a chord, it's like, yep, there you go. You don't hear any rubbing or any type of frequency clash between the strings. That can happen sometimes if the tuner has like a wide sweet spot.
Yeah. And it's funny too. You mentioned earlier too, like you talked about some of these tuners that have all these different features. Now I'm using a competitor's product right now. I'm using the Boss TU2. A lot of guys use that one.
Sure.
It's a staple pedal, and it has all kinds of cool features. But all I do is I just set it to be down half a step, and I don't use any other features. I don't use the oscillating modes or anything like that. I just want to tune my guitar real quick and get out of there.
Exactly, and that's what we found. Like when we started researching the tuners, we asked people that, and what features on the tuner that you use, and we found that most people really like the most popular one that was used is the detuning one. Mm-hmm. You have some people that are into the 432 tuning, right? You hear that all the time.
Yeah.
And then so you got people that do that, and then like a lot of the sweetened tunings and stuff like that, and then sometimes you have like a guitar mode, that tunes the strings and will only tune the strings, the open strings of a guitar, which, I mean, that's kind of passe. Everyone has a chromatic tuner these days. And, most people just weren't using those features, So it allowed us to keep the cost of the product down, make it more streamlined.
Yeah, exactly.
And make it so that you pull it out of the box and you can use it right away. There's no, you should read a manual, yes.
Yep.
But you know us, we never do. We just take things out of a box.
We complain after the fact. Why isn't it working? Then we read the manual.
And you go, oh, yeah. So, I mean, this is like a tuner. It's that you just take it out of the box and you plug it on your board and you're going.
That's right. Here's a very great testimony over in the chat. And I'm always thrilled whenever I see him pop up. It's great to have people joining every week, but it's cool. I see Sean Tubbs is jumping in again, and I know you're very familiar with him. He says he's saying hi to us, and he says D'Addario user for years, and Planet Waves cables too. Well, that's great. I mean, he's had the opportunity to have everything thrown at him from every brand there is, and he uses what he wants to use. So that's very, very cool.
No, he's amazing. Great player, great guy, and then proud D'Addario user. So we're happy to have him.
That's great. Thanks for joining, Sean. I appreciate that.
Thanks, Sean.
I'm using the Planet Waves ones, the Instrument Road series. I forget what you sent me. I forget the actual name of them. Do you remember what they were called?
American Stage.
There you go.
Right, American Stage.
That's it. American Stage. Love them. With the right angle jack now that goes into the pedal board. It's great. I mean, it's really silly. I did something on a podcast a while back, an audio podcast, where I said different things can inspire you, and it could come down to cables and things like that. And I was actually kind of referring to these cables. A cable can inspire you. My pedal snake inspires me greatly. I love having this instrument cable. It inspires me greatly. I know it's going to work every time you can plug in. You're not going to have to worry, am I going to have a short,
Right.
Here again, we talk about that. We're rushed. We're lazy. We don't have a lot of time sometimes to do what we want to do. When we want to have some fun with our guitars, we don't want to worry. We have to look around the house for a cable that may work. So they're great.
Right. And you need, especially when you're gigging, you need your stuff to work. I mean, you don't need any more pressure, Playing live is enough. At a gig, I guess it was like 2 months ago, and we're playing, and everything worked for sound check. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
We go up to play, and my rig is dead.
Yep.
And I was like, oh, what is going on here? So I'm searching everything. I'm pulling cables out. I'm swapping cables. It's not the cables. I'm doing all this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't figure it out. So finally, I just bypassed a couple of pedals, and I got sound, and I was like, all right, I'll just do the gig like this. It's fine.
Yeah.
I get home, and I'm laying in bed because it was bothering me. I was like, what? Yeah. And all of a sudden I'm like, I bet the power cable fell out of one of the pedals,
Yep.
And and the next day I come downstairs, I look in the pedal board, and the EVH flanger, just the power cord, fell out.
There you go.
And killed the board. You would normally look for something like that, if you were calm at home and trying to figure it out. But when it's I have to be playing right now, my rig's not working, you just, you forget this silly things to look for, And I didn't even look for a power cord being pulled out of a pedal, And
that's hard to see sometimes in the dark too, dim stages and stuff like that. So
yeah, so I plugged that back in, the whole board lit up, and everything was fine. And but it's when you're under pressure like that, I mean, the simplest little thing could just escape you, because you're panicking a little bit,
Perfect example. It happened to me tonight. You were a witness of it. So just before we go live on the show tonight, so I'm calling Rob. And then, every once in a while I'll have audio problems on my Mac. It's very, very few and far between, but it happens, and it doesn't detect my mixer or things like that. So I got Rob, I got his video, got his audio. He can see me, no problem. Couldn't hear me, and I'm ready to blame Rob. It's got to be you. Reboot your computer. And I'm like, oh, I didn't have phantom power turned on my mic, because what I was doing earlier, I was using one of these guys. I'm using a belt pack just for it's a lavalier system, and I don't need phantom power for this. So I was doing some testing, and I turned off my phantom power. So sure, and this is a condenser microphone, right, from Rode. So I needed that phantom power, and as soon as I turn that on, we're back in business. It's common sense things. It's usually the simplest of the things. That's like when you call someone for tech support, and I've worked in tech support for computers and stuff like that. You don't want to sound like that jerk on the phone saying, "Are your speakers plugged in?" But sometimes your speakers aren't plugged in. It's the simplest things, and the things when you think it's going to be a software driver or something like that, chances are it's human error somewhere, and I was the human idiot that made that error tonight. So
it just happens. Sometimes it usually is something simple.
It is almost always. And then if it's not, then you save that knowledge for a rainy day, because you store that when it's not the simple thing. So Sean saying thanks, Rob. He appreciates that. Let me see here. Lee Dunn's joining, and he's mentioning hi to Mr. Tubbs. And Timothy Pierce, Eric, and Rob. Okay, sold. Good. So we got some tuner sales. That's great. I'm glad.
Awesome.
Yeah. Check out the cables if you haven't tried the cables yet, too. Trust me, it's going to be a nice compliment for the pedal. So let's talk about that. We're going to jump into that because we're 10:35 now. I want to give away one of these pedals. So here's my trivia question, and a guitar player is going to answer. They're going to know this one. Poison Ivy knows the answer because I just texted her. The question is for one answer. Okay, one winner of the pedal, the D'Addario tuner. And she's going to help me get the first person. Where did Rob get his 5150 50-watt amp modified at? Where was that modified at? Who did that? Good question. And that's going to take probably, thank you. That's going to take probably about 15 seconds to 20 seconds because there's a time delay. And I'm going to watch very, very closely. Poison Ivy, you can help me watch on that as well. And we'll be wrapping up here shortly for sure. We'll wait and see who that is. And I will collect your information. I'll send it to Rob, and then he will get that out to you.
Yep.
So we should be having an answer here momentarily. And I want to thank everyone. We'll be wrapping up in a moment. I want to thank everyone for joining tonight. I want to say a big thanks to new sponsor, Mike's Music, Rode Microphones, and VanHalenStore.com for making this happen. Friedman, Voodoo Amps, Chris A. Oh, man, that was so close. I have to go. Okay, there we go. I have to go with Chris A. There's several people. No, it's not Walmart. Okay, and I just got a text confirmation. from Sandra Lee. She says it was Chris A. And Dan Wilhite, you're trying so close, man. He comes so close to so many darn prizes on the show. You're gonna win something eventually. I promise you. But I have to go with Chris A. He was the first person. It was milliseconds apart. So Chris A, send me. I'm not sure if that's Chris Armstrong. I know a Chris Armstrong. I'm not 100% positive if that's Chris Armstrong, but Chris A, contact me through facebook.com/EVHGearTV. Send me your full postal mailing address. I will forward it off to Rob, and he'll be in touch with you. Include your mailing address as well, too. I mean, your email address, and he'll take care of you from there. Dan Wilhite, hang in there, buddy. Don't give up on me. I know you're trying to win a prize. You're going to get something for sure. You know what, Dan? I'm going to send you a set of guitar strings. They're not D'Addario at the moment, but I have some EVH strings here, and I think you're a 9 to 42 player, so I'm going to send you a set of strings, okay? You were so darn close. Tone 19632, you were close as well, too. Hang in there. Keep playing. And you know what? Actually, Tone 19632, you contact me as well. I'll send you a set of guitar strings as well too. I've only got a few sets up there, so one set for Dan and one for Tone 19632. I'll send you those as well. So contact me through the Facebook page. How does that sound? Everyone's happy.
Everyone gets something.
All right. Awesome. So yeah.
I busted something out for you that I figured I'd bring up another guitar last.
Oh, I want to see it. What do you got? Something special?
I dug out my main guitar from high school.
BC Rich. Oh, my Lord. I got to go full screen on this one.
Look at this.
Dude. Kaler.
But the Kaler, it did have a Kaler in high school, and I'll be honest with you, it's kind of like my, why did I put a Kaler on this guitar? But
USA.
Yep, USA, the old real deal with all the 1,000 switches that you set in one location and then you never touch them again.
Yes.
But yeah, this was that's my high school guitar. I thought that'd be funny to show.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great guitar. I don't really play it too much anymore, but it was a fun one.
I love it. That says 80s all over it.
Oh yeah, and then I brought out. I figured keeping the theme.
Mm-hmm.
I bust this guy out. If I could.
Oh, I love that. That is badass. You almost have to be a DeVry graduate or an MIT graduate to figure out what all those knobs do.
Oh, it's crazy, but and it's weird because you have like for the 12 string, 6 tuning pegs are up here.
Okay.
And then 6 are down here.
Oh, that's just crazy. I've seen that. Yeah.
So you have to like tune the guitar from both ends, but yeah, it's a funky looking guitar. So that's my BC Riches.
I love it. It's great. I've never owned a BC Rich. I don't think even cheap knockoffs. It just was never my thing, and I'm an 80s boy for sure, like through and through. But I don't know what it was about the, like I liked Wasp and I liked all those bands, and bands that were even into that style of music were using BC Rich. But it never grabbed me, and I don't know what it is. There's nothing wrong with them. It just wasn't my thing. I guess I got hooked on Kramer really early, and the Kramer thing was my thing. Probably because of Van Halen and things like that, right?
Of course, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in a BC Rich. I didn't get into like their, like super strat kind of guitars and stuff, but like the Mockingbirds and the Bitches and stuff, I always thought they were pretty cool looking.
Yeah. And you still got guitar heroes like Lita Ford and a lot of other people playing them, so they're still going strong.
Yeah, I remember. I think the double neck I was inspired by Randy Jackson of Long Island band Zebra.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with them.
I know that name. I know I've seen that somewhere in the cycle.
Yeah, they were like our version of Triumph.
Okay, there you go.
Like 3-piece, power rock, and and he had this white double neck BC Rich, and I always thought it was like the coolest thing in the world.
Quentin James says, "Why is Rob not my best friend?" I was laughing at that. It was awesome. After seeing those couple guitars, like he's a 80s boy through and through. You can't get any more 80s. That's awesome. Sean Tubb says, "I had a pal in high school that had one, and I thought it was so cool. I had a '79 Les Paul Custom." So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. So you might your friend might have had the cool one. You had the one that sounded the best, probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
At this point in the game, I would take the '79 Custom.
I know. Yeah, me too. But it's cool to have a cool looking guitar for sure. I don't really have any cool looking guitars at this moment. Nothing that stands out. The boy wants to get a V sometime soon, so I'm gonna get him a V. Have something that stands out a little different from the norm. So, and
I have What do I think? I don't know if I can reach.
Yeah, go ahead and see if you can get it.
I can reach. It's on my wall. It's the old Ibanez. It was like their...
Oh, the pre-lawsuit?
The lawsuit era?
Yes. Oh, that is... Oh, I love that.
Yeah, wait, I got to see which way to go to logo. There we go.
Yeah, you got the same tuner on the headstock. There you go.
I got the tuner on the headstock, yep. But this is a great guitar. I mean, It's amazing. But, yeah, it's like a total lawsuit model.
Yep.
So.
Now, what would the body be made of, that one?
I don't know. It looks like Carina, but I don't think it's Carina. I think it's just maple with like a tint on it, to make it look that way.
And be affordable back in the day as well, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, this is a fun guitar. It just looks so cool. I don't play it that much, but it just looks great to hang on the wall.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And if you did want to play it, it would sound good for sure.
Oh, yeah. No, it has I don't know if you can hear me still. Wait. It does have a great sound, but it just looks cool. But Flying V's are always neat.
They are, for sure. Thanks to my boy Junior there at Bane Rocks, he introduced me to the Gorillas and their guitar player Jeff Wooten. He's from over in the UK. He's playing he plays a lot of Strats and a lot of Eastwood guitars and things like a lot of these weird guitars.
Sure, yeah.
But he's also using a V he uses for certain songs, using a Gibson V, and it's just so cool to see those come out for a certain song. It's not an all-night guitar by any means, but it's very, very cool. Let me see here. There's a funny comment here too. Quentin says the 80s called once. Quentin James back. And Mauricio, thanks for joining, buddy. He says, Zebra, tell what you want. Was that one of their songs?
That was their song. That was the big hit, yes.
So there you go. He knows them. I don't know the music. I just know the name for sure. I saw the name on posters and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're a great band. I mean, they're actually amazing. And Randy plays on strings. He's in Dorsey, the guitar player. And they still play on the East Coast, mostly on the East Coast. And then he also does these Zeppelin symphony shows where he's like the singer, and they have a whole symphony behind with a rock band. They do a whole Zeppelin show. So, yeah, amazing band, great band.
Oh, fantastic. Tone says, I want Rob's rack for sure. U.S. American Made Guitarist says sick. Sean Tubbs says also actually killer. Chris Van Tassel has one, the Ibanez, so for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris has some really cool gear for sure. There was actually one of the amps I think he had at J Rocket that Mark Tremonti wanted and ended up purchasing. So he has a nice, nice collection of stuff. It was a he's gonna kill me for not knowing it. Dumble. I want to say it's a Dumble, and I think that's the amplifier that the dude was made after. Sean will know that. And I'm failing on my J Rocket knowledge, and Chris is going to send me a bad email tomorrow. No, he won't. He's a great guy. He's going to say, Eric, you know better than that. You know which one it is. I just forget. Let me see here. Curtis Murata says, sweet. Tactical Six String says he won an Epiphone V back in the day. I literally don't remember what happened to it. What happened to my guitar? It's gone. It was here one day. Yeah. Tactical says, I hate it when that happens. Let me see here. He prefers the pointy ESP headstock over the Jackson Charvels. Less likely to chip. Very good point.
Yep.
And yeah, Sam just kind of echoed a point you said. Singer for Zebra sings in a great Zeppelin cover band. Let me see here. Dumble, yes, and I got it. So I'm all right. I was okay. I got it right. He confirmed that. So listen, I'm going to let you go here in a moment. I want to thank everybody for joining in and having a great evening. I know it's a good show when we have a good flow of the show, I should say, when I've got a bunch of questions saved. That just means we get to have Rob back a third time and a fourth time. So we're going to save some of these questions for the rainy days, have him back again as well, too. And I want to wish everyone a fantastic weekend. So you guys that won the prizes, Dan Wilhite, I think I have your contact information. Chris A confirmed it was Chris Armstrong. I have his contact information. And then let me go. Who did I say earlier that won? Who did I say won the tuner? Do you remember who I said that was?
It was Chris A?
No, hang on a sec. Let's go back. Who was that again? Poison Ivy? Maybe it was. Let's go back. Just one sec. I want to go back and scroll. Yes, Chris A got that. Okay, so yeah,
yep.
Okay, perfect. So it's Tone 19632. I need your contact information. So please send me your information to get you those strings. Because I don't think I've sent anything to you before, and I'll funnel Chris's over to Rob. And Chris, just send me a message, and we just have it top of mind, just so I don't have to search for it in case. And we'll get that to Rob, and he'll have that pedal out to you. But check that out for sure. Check out, there's in the link down below in the description, there's links to D'Addario and Planet Waves and everything to have a full look at their tuners, their cables, all the new products. You have a new hydration device, like a hygrometer type of a deal coming out as well too.
Yeah, we have last NAMM. It's like a Bluetooth hygrometer, so you put them in your guitar case.
Nice.
And then you can just sit on the couch on your cell phone and check the humidity and temperature of all your guitars in the house.
Oh,
and
yeah, that's great. You
don't have to go opening all the cases and stuff like that. It's pretty neat.
What are you doing? Checking your email, checking stocks? No, I want to see if my guitar is comfortable.
Exactly. No, I'm just checking on my guitars, making sure they're
right.
okay.
Are you okay? I'm coming right now. I'll be right there, and you bring in a little bit more water. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, listen, thanks so much for joining me again, Rob. This is great. I'll say goodbye to you off the air here as well, too. And a big shout out to all the sponsors. Thank you so much for making the show happen. You were greatly appreciated. Mike's Music Online, Rode Microphones, and VanHalenStore.com. You can get this Smoking Baby shirt that I'm wearing right now in the Van Halen store. Go get them. They have some
Awesome.
great stuff. And they keep making me look half-ass cool on the show. So thank you, Jeff, and Van Halen Store. Love it. And it was a great night having you tonight. I really appreciate it.
Man, I love it. It's always a good hang. So whenever you need me, give me a yell.
I will for sure. I'll be taking up on that for sure. And everyone, you have a fantastic weekend. We're going to turn it over to the little man in a second. He's going to tell us what his name is, what he's playing, and we'll look forward to seeing you again real soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Cheers.
See you, everyone.
My name is Eric, and I'm playing left-hand guitar.
Video production services provided by Design 39 Media. Visit design39media.com for all your website, photography, and video production needs.